Hello and welcome to the first of my video tutorials on Adobe Photoshop. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to take a reasonably good image, which we have here of the boat on the canal. We're going to change it into a black and white in a simple way and just add a little bit of border to give it a bit more look in the presentation, like that. So there you go. In a few quick and easy steps, I'll show you how to go from that to a much more presentable black and white image. First of all, you need to start with your base image. All we're going to do now in your layers palette is create a new layer. You rename this layer black and white. Press enter. With that layer active, select your paint bucket tool from the tool palettes on the left hand side and just fill that layer black. Okay, now you have that. The next step is to come up to your layer blending modes at the top of the layers palette. Select the drop down arrow and select color from the drop down menus. As you can see now, you now have a black and white image. One problem with this, as you might see, is that there's not much contrast. It's quite flat looking. So the next step now, press Ctrl and L on your keyboard. Press Ctrl and L now on your keyboard to bring up your layers palette with your background layer selected, the layer that contains your image. Now to add a bit more contrast and a bit more bite to your image, just drag your black slider in slightly, around about 16. Give a little bit more definition to your whites, pull the whites through. Again, with your mid-tone slider, your grey slider, play about to see where you like it. I think that's about right there. You can always check the adjustments you've made by clicking the preview tab. That's before and that's after. If you're happy with that result, click OK to confirm those changes. The next step I tend to do is add a bit more definition into the trees and the sky. So select your black and white layer again. Down at the bottom of your layers palette you've got adjustment layers. Select that and go for a gradient adjustment layer. Photoshop's default is black to transparent. That is fine for the purpose of this image. Trouble is, you got the black coming out at the bottom of the image and we want it at the top of the image. If you click reverse, that will swap the gradient filter around for you, and click OK to confirm. Next, that effect is slightly too strong, so we're going to bring your slider down, your fill slider on the top and right hand side of your layers palette down to about 50%. And the next step, with the gradient fill layer 1 selected, again up to your layer blending modes, and we're going to go for soft light blending mode. There you go. So you get a bit more detail of the sky coming through the trees. So again, if you want to check the before and after, just click on the eye next to your layer. It takes, that's before and that's after. Okay, and there's your black and white image. Now what we're going to do is make it look a bit more presentable. We're going to add a small border around the edge of the image. To do this, we're going to come up to the layers palette and we're going to flatten your current image. Now then, you notice now you've got one background layer which is locked. If you double click on the background layer, bring up the options here, just click OK or type a name So then what you need to do next is create a new layer, and when you create a new layer, by default it automatically goes on top of the layers palette. For the purpose of this image we need the new layer to be below, so drag your layer 1 below your image layer. The next step, to go up again to your layers, go to your image, canvas size. Now I tend to work in inches. We have an image and a canvas size that is roughly 8 by 6 inches. We're going to add a 1/2 inch border around the edge of the image. To do that, we just type 8.5 and we will go 6.4 for this one, as we were just slightly under the 6 inches mark with the canvas, and click OK. You notice now you have a transparent border around your image. Next, again with your paint bucket tool selected, fill your layer 1 with black, and that's your black border. Just to, you notice now the dark areas of your image tend to run into the border and you haven't got definition between the border and the black background. To correct this, go to your image layer, double click, which brings up your layer style options, and select stroke. If you select a white, stroke will be fine for this image. Click OK. Position. I always, to give you a crisp look on the corners of your stroke, I select the inside option. You get nice sharp edges to your stroke effect. Once that's done, click OK. And there you go. Black and white in a few easy steps. I hope you enjoy this tutorial.